Namaste Bharat, hello and good evening India. Today is a Wednesday, which means it is time for LinkedIn Local India's online interventions for the community and by the community. Today's topic is very relevant. It is all about reskilling and upskilling. Couple of quick reminders before we actually begin the evening. This is a dialogue and a conversation, so please let those questions and comments keep coming in into the comment section of this LinkedIn Live. This is me, Preeti Chaudhary, and with me I have today my friend Vivek Chadha and Col Amit Verma, who will be taking you through the nuances of LinkedIn Local India Presents Reskilling and Upskilling with some stellar guests from the industry. So, with that, let me welcome everybody into the stream as we proceed, and then we can get this conversation kick-started. I'm really exciting and looking forward. So here we are. Here is all the panel and the moderators and the hosts and the audience is right here. So with that, let's get kick-started. And with this, my dear friend Vivek, it is over to you to get this evening rolling and started. And let us have all those nuggets of wisdom and industry experience from a cumulative, maybe 50 or 60 years in the panel here today for the audience live on this LinkedIn Live, LinkedIn Local India Live, Reskilling and Upskilling. Over to you, Vivek. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all of you today. It gives me immense pleasure to announce the next LinkedIn Local India Online. The theme for today is Reskilling and Upskilling, Opportunities and Obstacles. My name is Vivek Chadha, and I, along with Preeti Chaudhary and Col Amit Verma, will be your host for today. We have a stellar panel lineup today, and I'm very happy to introduce them. We have with us Rachana Khanzode, India Employer Brand and Talent Marketing at Telstra. She's also an author and Law of Attraction workshop trainer and life coach. We have with us Vineeth John Abraham, aka VJ. He's the Vice President, Strategy, Innovation and Special Projects at Swiss Re. We also have with us Preethi Guruswamy. She is the Senior Development Manager at Intuit, also Lean In Regional Leader and the founder and president of Lean In Women in Tech in India. I heartily welcome all our panelists, and I thank you for investing your time to join us today. I also thank our audience for coming and participating in today's LinkedIn Local India Online, and hope that you derive immense value from the same. Please keep your questions ready and put them in the chat box that you see at the bottom of your screens. So without much further ado, I request Preeti to introduce LinkedIn Local to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vivek. And a quick recap LinkedIn Local India is a LinkedIn property. It is an online to offline meetup concept wherein members who are either connected to each other or not yet connected to each other meet up physically to connect, communicate, and collaborate because we as humans are social in nature. Community and conversations are things that are really important. In the last 7 months, in the special circumstances and situations that we are living in now, all that has happened is this whole process has moved online. And that is the reason why we are here virtually talking to each other in this virtual studio via this medium of LinkedIn Local India Live. Going forwards, I foresee a hybrid model coming into play wherein we will have physical sessions and also virtual sessions like these. And here is a heads up LinkedIn Local India community in Gurgaon, get ready because your physical event will return in December with Each for Equal. It is an inclusion and equity event which will happen in the first week of December. So please watch out for information and dates coming in the run up and coming closer to the event. So that is what LinkedIn Local is all about. In its virtual avatar, we are here today. Going forward, we are looking forward to being back physically, doing the best in terms of talking to each other, meeting each other, learning from each other's experiences. And that is what today is all about as well. Before I move on to the topic at hand, let me call into the stream my dear friend Colonel Amit Verma. Please introduce yourself and then we can get this evening started. Over to you, Colonel. Thank you.
Thank you there, Preeti and Vivek. LinkedIn Local is the way professionals were connecting before the COVID lockdown started. And with the LinkedIn Local India Live, that has been happening as a very strong virtual pivot. We've been meeting online now. I'm looking forward to getting the offline started again in Gurgaon, and it will be in many, many more places. Preeti, you're keeping that news under the wrap for now, but it will be happening. Humans have to connect, and humans have to upskill and reskill, because we as a species, we as individuals need to grow. As an army veteran in transition, just about a year now, I have seen the need for this reskilling and upskilling. And what better than the experts that we have today? And we have a large number of people in the audience to listen in, and I hope they will have the questions to keep us busy too. Back to you, Preeti.
Thank you, my dear friend. Thank you for your service. I cannot say that enough, time and time again. And you've been a huge support and a constant cheerleader for Vivek and I in all these months. So thank you very much for that. But you're right. Let's get the evening kick started. And once again, a quick reminder to the audience that is attending today. This is a dialogue and a conversation. If you do not ask, we cannot tell. We are not here for a GAN session. We are here to have a two-way conversation. So please let those questions and comments keep coming in into the chat section or the comment section of this LinkedIn Local India Live. The topic, once again, a reminder: reskilling and upskilling, opportunities and obstacles. And with that, I move to the first speaker for this evening. And that is none other than my dear friend Vijay, also Vineeth John Abraham. And I would invite him now to please express your views on the topic, whatever you feel like, what you've seen in your life, personal, professional, and everything else in between. It's over to you, Vijay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Preeti, Vivek, and Colonel Amit for hosting us again. So it's a wonderful platform, LinkedIn Local India, and then I take immense pleasure to be back in this platform again. Being said this, the reskilling and upskilling opportunities and obstacles, I would like to start off with a small story and then get into more details. We all have listened to a story of a woodcutter. There was a woodcutter who was so fast and proactive in cutting woods. He used to cut at least 250 trees per day. One day, an employer found this guy as a great resource and hired him. In few days, woodcutter noticed that he is not able to cut 250 trees in a day, and it is reducing day by day. It went from 200 to 100, then to 50. He went to his boss and told, "I should quit. I don't think I deserve to be working with you." So the boss asked him, "When did you sharpen your axe last time?" Many a times we all fall in the same category. When we are looking for a job change or looking for something to be starting, we will be at the peak of sharpening our skills. But after that, I was just reading through the World Economic Forum's report on transformation of the jobs, and the technologies. It mentions that the fourth industrial revolution, we need to reskill more than 1 billion people in 2030. As in the next two years, by 2023, 42% of the core skills required to perform existing jobs are expected to change. In addition to the high-tech skills, specialized interpersonal skills will be in high demand, the report says. And much more than that, 4 adults reported a mismatch between the skills they have and the skills they need for their current job. Many a times we all feel that machine learning, AI, everything, deep learning, everything, all the niche technologies are going to make us redundant and take our jobs. But WFF is very clear and in stating that there are much bigger opportunities coming to us just that we need to upskill and reskill ourselves. Being said this, I would like to end the introduction with a quote. I always love this quote telling that known is a drop and unknown is an ocean. Being said this, looking forward for an interactive session to hear more from you and then share our experiences. Thank you.
Very short and sweet and absolutely on point there, my dear Vijay. Thank you so much. And the thing that stood out for me here in this particular dialogue that you've just said was sharpening of the skills in the nick of the hour, because anything done just in time sometimes doesn't really work. It has to be a constant process. It has to be some sort of a consistent process wherein we sort of keep at something time and time again, and not just do a JIT, because that doesn't really work. So thank you so much for that. We will definitely come back with questions. I'm sure the audience will have by the time they've listened to all the panelists. So with that, I come to the next panelist for the evening, and that is Rachana. My dear Rachana, thank you so much once again for being here today. Please, your views on the topic in terms of reskilling and upskilling, opportunities and obstacles, again from a professional, personal life experience sort of a scenario. Over to you. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you, Preeti, Vivek, and Colonel Amit. I really appreciate you bringing me on board. And I have a couple of points on this topic. I did actually give a lot of thought, and I felt that in today's environment, what we are hearing is that organizations are seeking innovation. They are seeking for solution-led people all the more. Not that they were not looking in the past, but they are now looking for these kind of skills much more than in the past. And therefore, I believe the biggest thing that you could upskill yourself is the technology of mind. And what I mean by technology of mind is basically going back and then being able to find answers around how do I become more sane in changing times? How do I become more balanced? How do I start seeing change in a more positive way and perceiving it in a more positive way? How do I move my low feeling state to a high feeling state very quickly? How do I change my relationships with my people at work? And how do I start attracting opportunities, that are out there available for me? And the reason why I say that is because I feel once you start learning these aspects of your mind, you will be much more balanced, centered, and grounded to be able to handle any situation. And no matter which technology or which direction you're going, you will be much more, able to deal with things, right? And the reason I call it as the technology of mind is because the application is just like any technology. What does happen when we go out and create an app? We write a code at the back end, and then there is a UI UX at the front end where the consumer actually clicks on something and the magic happens. It's the same with the technology of mind. When you know what is happening within and you can direct things in that way that you want, your external environment also change. So I think that's something that you should all explore, is what I feel. The second thing that I feel is that now organizations are very, very aware of how important it is for their employees to reskill, upskill. But no matter what it is that you want to learn, you should never shy away from investing in yourself. And I personally invest about 10 to 15% of my annual earnings in learning something new. So do not shy away is what I would say. And the third point that I want to make is that a lot of times we end up going out there and competing with others. So no matter what you do, just ask yourself, am I a better version of myself? Have I done best in the last 1 year, in the last 6 months? And you know whether you are going in the right direction or not. Those are my few cents, Preeti, for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And technology of the mind, that is my takeaway from what you have just said. I absolutely love that coinage of term. And I'm sure I'll get to learn myself as we progress during the evening as to what are the nuances of that and how we can sort of bring about that into our lives. And before we move on, here is a very dear friend who has popped into the audience today, and this is Dr. Richard Claydon, a friend from Hong Kong, and he has something really nice to say. And I'm going to bring that comment up and read it up for all of us. Thank you, Richard, for this beautiful comment. It says, Technical skills have a half a life of 18 months. Things like curiosity, creativity, cognitive flexibility, and critical thinking are for life. Absolutely and spot on indeed, my dear friend. Thank you so much for that. And with that, we move on to our last but not the least panelist, Preeti. Preeti, like Vivek said, is from a technical technology perspective background, and I would like to invite you, Preeti, for your views on the topic today. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti. And first of all, I would like to thank Amit Colonel and Vivek and you as well, Preeti, for inviting me for this session to share my thoughts on what does reskilling and upskilling mean. I think Rachana and Vijay covered it very well, and I definitely want to say that reskilling and upskilling is more about that is there with us, like what Rachana said. It's a technology of mind, and we need to make sure that we are continuously and reskilling and upskilling itself. Before I say why reskilling and upskilling is important, let's try to understand what is upskilling and reskilling. Right, upskilling is basically process of learning of new skills, or actually sharpening your saw. Right, I mean, I think the story what Vijay brought it up was very critical for an upskilling. We need to sharpen our saw every day, especially when we get into a job, we get into a comfortable position, and we forget about upskilling. Reskilling is about learning new technology, new skills, things that you want to do differently from your current job, and you can always do it while you do with your current job, right? And also it could be in terms of changing your function, changing your uh, technology space is where you would like to reskill. As I think one of the most important point that the World Economic Forum also estimated, like in 2022, 54% of the employees, half of the employees require reskilling. Uh, Today, organizations are invested in people on both reskilling and upskilling. But what is important to you, right? Very importantly, what I would say is, make yourself uncomfortable every day and learn the new thing. I think the moment we get into a job, when we start doing it, we get into the grind, and that basically we don't realize that when we have to start reskilling or when we have to do an upskilling. Sharpening your saw is something that I always say that it has to be there. As a technologist, every day there is new thing coming in, there is an app coming in, there is different technologies that is coming in, right? And every day there is a change in technology. What you will need to focus on is what is important for you. And I think that's why it becomes more relating to what Rachana said. It's technology of the mind, which you have to look inwards and see that what's important for you. Yeah, is are you on the phase of you have to upskill or the reskill? One of the things that as technologies people forget about, upskilling themselves, which becomes very important, right? And that is very critical. Make sure that you sharpen your saw always, right? And be flexible enough to learn new skills. Don't One of the things that very commonly happens in technology space is about, hey, I'm somebody, I know this. Be flexible enough to learn new things. I'm very somebody who's like always worked on C++, or I want to work on AI ML only. Remember, one thing that doesn't stay in the technology constant, it's the technology itself, right? Every day there is something new. And most importantly, in your career, you need to leave your legacy behind, not the technology. So make sure that your skills, be it curiosity, creativity, technology, is the legacy that you leave behind.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Preeti. And again, the point that stood out for me here is leaving your legacy behind, being open and flexible to new ideas, and always accepting new things and looking inwards. Those three or four points absolutely stood out for me. So thank you very much, and the entire panel. Thank you for putting in those initial views. A quick reminder for the audience before we move on to the next section, in which we are very soon. This is a dialogue and a conversation. There are a few questions and comments that have already come in, but again, urging you to let those gray cells keep ticking in. Put in your questions right here in the comment section because we are fast approaching the live audience questions section. And to start that, I would handle the baton back to Vivek. Over to you, Vivek, to get rolling on the next section of this LinkedIn Live. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti. Fantastic views there, Vineeth, Rachana, and Preeti. And this brings in the combination of what we need. And primarily, I think the whole idea that is coming is that we need to get the change first in our mind. Sorry, we need to get away with the idea that we can just continue on the path we are. So fantastic. I really liked some of the points made there. So we have a question. Preeti, can you help me pull up that question from Shubham Biswas there? This question is for Vineeth. The question is, what are the certain skills the companies will be looking in a job seeker at this virtual working atmosphere?
That's an interesting question. So basically, most of us are concentrating on communicating the things which we do. So I would say the communication is one of the things which is really standing out in the virtual environment. We are not meeting people, we are not sharing our expressions, the body language is missing even though it is there in the video. So the communication actually stands out. But being said that, on the technology side, what I have seen, at least with the people who are coming in, everyone feels that it's a know-it-all. So Satya Nadella recently called it out, telling we should be moving away from know-it-all to learn it all. So if you can learn it all, then you will be able to listen to the customers, you will be able to make some difference to whom you are interacting with. So as per me, I feel be clear on your communication and connect well and collaborate.
Thank you, Vineeth. I hope that answers the question to some extent there. We have another question. This question is for you, Rachana. What are the upskilling frameworks used by your organization to ensure that the workforce is future ready?
I think a lot of organizations are now looking beyond, beyond the skills that they are growing out there, right? And they are using different platforms, right? Whether it is online or whether it is offline. Even in current times, I know that organizations are really making a lot of efforts to connect with their employees and to bring, the best of the opportunities for them. The other thing that I'm hearing is that they're offering a lot of reimbursement. So if you are interested in going out and then doing certain certifications, then they are allowing you to do that. Some organizations I know are even opening up to kind of saying that we will reward you if you are looking at these specific skill sets that their organization is really keen on. So it really depends organization to organization, I would say. And clearly there is a mid-level a management that is trained on leadership skills, like always, and then there are at the ground level people are also skilled, and certain people are also identified to kind of bring them up to the leadership skills. So I think organizations are really going above and beyond than what they were doing before, and everybody should definitely leverage it.
Great. Thank you, Rachana there. We have another question for Preeti here. This is similar to the question for Vineeth, but it's on the technology side. So what are the key skills in technology that will prepare me for the future? It's a tricky question because technology changes.
Yes, I think absolutely technology changes every day. I mean, being in this technology industry for 20 plus years, I think one of the things that I tell, whether it is, you are a campus grad or you're an experienced, get your fundamentals very strong. At the end of it, right, it is the fundamentals of like your data structures or stuff. Because whether it's AI, ML, or anything, it's the logic that you are going to write in everyday cases in the data structures. Most of the time we get carried away with new technologies that is coming in. Hey, AI, ML, or different tech, and every day the technologies, if your fundamentals are right, and this is where I say sharpening your saw, is what becomes is you will be able to adapt to any technology. One of the key things that I want to bring up, I think this was the recent study that came in, is about adaptability quotient. Given that we are in the COVID situation and the way we are looking, I think one of the things that every organization sees is an adaptability quotient in you, right? And that comes whether your adaptability skills with your EQ or even with your IQ is very important, right? So be open to learning new things, but make sure your fundamentals are very right. The fundamentals are very, very important. It's like building a house, right? Unless you have a base foundation very well, then you can build anything on top of it. So yes, focus on your fundamental data structures and things, where automatically any new language should never be a barrier.
Great. Thank you, Preeti, for bringing that out so nicely. So we'll move on to the next set of questions. I'll request Colonel Amit to take it up, please.
Thank you, Vivek. Preeti, can we bring up the question from Captain Chiranjeev?
Here you go.
Yeah, thank you. The question is, what are the top 3 skills in demand for the next 2 years? And I think he's being very specific by limiting the future to 2 years, because the future will change and arrive again. So the question is open to the panel. Rachana, would you want to have a go?
I think we cannot or we can never say that AI, ML, and data analytics are something that are going to go away anytime. I think this is something that is and going to continue and grow all the more. Coming from telecom, 5G networks is what we say is in demand big time, and because also we believe that 5G is going to change the way the world is going to communicate. But personally, I would say, like what I said, technology of your mind, being able to deal things in the best possible way, no matter what you do, where you are, and even if you're working on a core technology like Java, it does not matter. But what matters is that how do you implement it? Are you solution oriented? Are you innovation oriented? Those are the things that organization will never stop looking out for. So start building on those things. I mean, this is my personal take. Thank you.
The next question will be for Vijay. Preeti, if you can bring up the question from Dr. Richard. That's a neat one right there. Is complex problem solving a skill in itself, ranked number 1 in the WA Future of Jobs report, or the output of having other critical future ready skills? Vijay, all yours.
Okay, so it's a tricky question. How I would like to start off that is basically, yeah, complex problem solving can be a skill, but at the same time, are we able to translate that complex problem into the modules and innovate on that? So there, just before this question, Rachana was highlighting on the technology base which is getting evolved. So if you see World Economic Forum, which we have already brought in, for the next 2 or 3 years, there is no dearth of technology. So I was just, one report was just in front of me. I was about to talk about the same thing. If you see, IoT is there in the list top, analytics is there in the list of, machine learning, cloud computing, augmented encryption. So that means each and every technology, each and every skill is there, and not even the dearth of opportunities is going to be there. Just that you have to find the innovation in that and then start working on it. So yeah, definitely that complex, the problem solving is also a skill which most of our engineers are lacking these days. So that is my 2 cents in this.
Thank you, Vijay. And that's absolutely the way it is. We will get new tech, and like Rachana was saying, 5G will come and change everything. Nobody is sitting here and talking about the demise of the typewriter. The age of the typewriter is gone. We then had data entry operators, which are now passe. We can input our own data. So tomorrow will come in with new jobs and new skills. The question is, can some of our previous skills be useful? Preeti, if you will bring up the question of from Gautam Nath. The question which he is coming up here is that he is trying to focus on the in-person skills, or I take it that more individual skills which are more face-to-face. So he's asking, do such skills still have relevance in the voice video at the end of the line? I think we have a person who's got Zoom fatigue in the remote working COVID world. Preeti, if you would like, want to
Yeah,
take
I
that.
think I think communication skills at any point of time plays a critical role. Right, how you articulate a problem or how do you articulate a solution, it is definitely the role that it will play. And irrespective of whether you're there physically or in the voice world, it doesn't matter, right? And yes, I understand that we are all in the Zoom fatigue world, that we are like all, I think everything is in front of the laptop today. And probably I have seen also people working in front of laptop. That's the way that we are, like, running and taking up meetings. But what I would say is, give nothing, everything keeps changing. Change is something is always constant. And I actually focus on how fast you adapt for the change. And that's why we were talking about adaptability quotient, given that we are in the COVID situation. For a leader, for an employee, the adaptability quotient plays a very critical role, right? And again, both your reskilling and upskillings will play there. But I think Vijay also brought it up earlier. The way you communicate plays a critical role.
I think the
I want to add a bit here.
please, Rachana.
So, this is exactly what I was saying, Preeti, when I opened up my comments, that how do you perceive change? If you are stuck with what you were experiencing in the past, and if you are going to expect that it is never going to happen, all you got to do is say and accept that this is the new reality, this is the new change that we have to adapt to. And when you see a person online, nothing changes. The energy exchange still happens, the connect still happens. So if you are fatigued, when you are connecting with people, take few minutes to kind of talk to them about their personal life, ask about them, how they're doing, and crack a joke, and it will just lighten up the whole atmosphere for you to kind of be able to start communicating just the way you were doing when you were in person. Those are the few tricks that you could always use. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachana. A smile really goes a long way in resolving many, many issues which happen on Zoom meetings. And Preeti, if you could pick up the comment which is coming from Richard Claydon. The same thing what Rachana just said. The human has not changed. The only thing which has changed is the way we are interacting with each other. We have to adapt. We have to be flexible. The energy is still the same because the people are still the same. We just have to leverage the tech better. I'm not lamenting the fact that there are no horses around. I can get around on a car and a bike as easily. And it would have been very difficult taking a horse to the 20th floor or parking it in a city anyway. So you can't say what was working earlier has to work forever. Life will change and life will find a way. Back to you, Preeti.
Thank you very much. Vijay, you wanted to add something to this as well, please? Go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, so I was about to say that whatever Colonel Amit just mentioned. So in this COVID era, during the Zoom meetings, every introvert, even if it is an introvert, you have a great pitch to start a meeting. How is it? How is the COVID situation there? So that brings in the personal connect between each of us, right? So earlier pre-COVIDian era, we had tough time to connect with people, create that icebreaker in every virtual meeting. But now that is not the case. We are concerned about whoever is there visually. We are seeing them in the camera, in the screen. So I believe that is the positive thing. And again, communication plays a big role, as Preeti mentioned.
Very important. Thank you for that. And it is over to me, like Amit said, for the next set of questions. And here is one from Captain Charanjit Layal again. And this is open to all the panel. Managing with less. As organization resources have been hit. Your comments, please, on this. Who would like to go first? Vijay, Rachana, Preeti, who would like to go first?
Yeah, I can start off that. Basically, like, at least for both organizations which I have been recently associated with, we have not seen a less productivity or anything which is happening there. Rather, we have seen as an increase in the productivity, whatever we have seen till now. Maybe because of the Bangalore traffic, we are getting lots of time to get connected. That is one thing. But at the same point of time, we have seen people getting adjusted over a period of time. Maybe in March, yeah, where there was some kind of friction there, we were trying to understand how we are going to start off with and other things. But at the same time, now if you see, everyone is adjusted. We have accepted the fact that this is our new life and this is where we are getting in. So the productivity is slowly getting increased, and then we are getting into that where we all work together in the same environment. So yeah.
Thank you for that. Anybody would like to add before I move on to the next one? Rachana. Okay, thank you.
Yes, yes. I think Vijay has rightly pointed out that we are now adapting and we are now making more use of the time correctly. And I would say that no matter what happens, there will always be this belief that we have less resource. But that gives you an add-on, opportunity if you are in that environment to kind of upskill yourself and be able to support to a lot many more other things that you were not doing before. And also because you have much more time, you have the ability to do that. The other flip side, I would say, is that if you are doing the best in what you are, then you would always be in demand, no matter where you are. So keep upskilling, and you will always find that opportunity coming your way. The third point that I see is that for women, especially in this time, they have a lot more opportunity to go out and start working because they are at home, able to manage things. So they should definitely use that. Yeah.
Thank you. And over to you, Preeti. I think you also have a comment or two to make here. Over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, I think be it organization and us, I think all of us have learning and have learned, rather, I would say, like what Rachana May said, that we have moved on and we've learned the new environment. The new norm is no more a new norm, right? Uh, I think while the organization is invested in you, take opportunity of that, right? Then never leave any opportunity left behind, right? Focus on what is important versus, there's always a change, and we've learned this change very well. Like productivity is increased, like what Vijay has said. But don't get stuck to the point. What will I do because there is COVID situation? A lot of stuff the organization are valuing the change and are invested in the employees. Make use of it.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to change tracks over here. We've been talking about professionals with, say, a bit of experience behind, but I do not really want to leave the class of 21 behind. So my next question is for you, and this is from our student community. This question is coming from there. Vijay, I will come to you with this. What skill set should freshers develop now, and how much do internships matter? I think a hugely important question, because this is the dilemma that is going through the young people that are going to come out end of this academic year and so on and so forth. So It's over to you. Thank you. And other panelists are more than welcome to please add on if they have anything. Vijay?
Yeah, thanks, Preeti. So internships actually matter a lot because that is the first step. You are putting your feet into the water. So you are realizing what is actually the industry, how is the culture, and how you can build something on what you have learned. So internship does matter a lot. And, I started my career as an intern with Dell Technologies long back in 2007. So, it actually gave me a confidence on approaching the industry leaders, talking to people, and then realizing theory is theory, practically what you have to implement. So that kind of changes you will realize only through internship, which I have always used to tell the freshers or the college graduates how they have to get into that internship mode. Second question which was asked is basically what are the skills required, right? So Preeti mentioned just before, this question also, be thorough on what you are actually. So we have seen, in multiple interviews, talking to candidates, they just come up with some theoretical aspect. They talk about that and then just leave. But if you ask more detailed oriented questions, there is actually, very less coming from the graduates. So what I'm trying to say is basically do a deep dive into the technology which you are focusing on, which you are interested, and what jobs you are going to apply. Be thorough on that, because we have seen that base foundation is missing in all the most of the graduates which are coming into the market.
I would like to add something here.
Please.
I think the current generation is extremely blessed, because they have these plethora of opportunities to go out there and do these internships. And some organizations even offer internships as long as 6 months to 1 year. And there's so much to grow and so much happening there. So there's no way that you can underestimate, the experience of being an intern. While you're doing that, I would say that as Vijay called out, do best what you're doing, but also start thinking from the perspective of, are you solutions oriented and innovation led? Because that is what something that no matter how many years from now, organizations are going to keep asking for more and more and more. So if you are looking at that direction, participate in hackathons, participate in different tech panels, and there's so many opportunities out there. So leverage that so that you are able to make the most of your internship. A lot of interns do that, and then they eventually see the benefit of also being seen within their leadership, and then opportunities coming their way, which was initially not the plan. So go ahead and definitely explore those opportunities for yourself.
Another
Thank
thing
you
that
very much.
I would like to add
Please.
another thing, especially for students, and I think even for in the lateral community as well. I mean, you have the place today to contribute to open source. There are a lot of technologies which you can contribute. Internship is definitely an add-on. Don't underestimate, but your reskilling and upskilling can also be an open source technologies where you can contribute to. That's your profile that you can build, and you can build from the day one.
Very, very important and pertinent right there. And here is what brings me, rather the student community, into the catch 22 conundrum, folks. And this one is again from the fresher community. And it says, when most of the industries are demanding experience, how can a fresher make an identity in such an environment? Who would like to take that first? Because I think, again, a question that warrants an answer from all of y'all. So it's over to you guys. Who wants to?
I can
Okay,
take it first.
please.
I think I just said that answer in my previous question. Experience matters, but build your profile. I mean, in the open source community, GitHub is there. Build your profile there. Contribute to the different apps, technologies that is there, right? And it's the where, I mean, this opportunity was not there 20 years ago, right? Now you have a lot of opportunities, especially for the student communities and freshers, where they can build their profile and say, hey, here is the technologies that I'm, show your adaptability for the technology.
Yeah, I can also add a bit there. I would say that I think internship is great opportunity, and I'm reiterating that again and again because I see, I've seen interns in my past organization. I see them in current organizations, and this is your chance to kind of showcase, that you can think beyond. So if you have great ideas, go and pitch them to your leadership. Go and talk to them. Like I said before, participate in, different platforms like hackathon or speaking opportunities, because when you do that, you are actually showcasing that you are ready to be able to do things that people are already doing within the ecosystem, right? It's not necessary that somebody is going to come to you and only then you are going to solve a problem. Pick up a problem or that you believe is going to make a difference in the organization and create a solution or propose a solution and work with your leaders to kind of take it forward. And we see so much happening similar kind, in our organization, and then people jumping up the ladders very quickly. So make full use of these things, and I'm sure that you will cut through.
Yeah. I'll kind of like end up that on the same line itself. When Preeti started talking, I was also thinking the same thing. So recently one of the fresher reached out to me for mentorship. So he wanted to try out something on the data analytics side, and then he was asking me what are the opportunities for me and how can I get into that. So I suggested the same thing which Preeti told, and even Rachana told the same thing. Try to get into the open source community, try to see what all things you can learn and then contribute back. I can't imagine the surprise which I had when he called me after a month and told, sir, I was able to do some kind of projects. I was able to pull in 4 or 5 people, my friends. Now we are working on a startup idea which evolved through the open source community. Now we are working on that. So I was thrilled to hear that, because the plethora of opportunities for the freshers now, which we have not been there when we were kicking start our industry journey, right? So now it is too much, and they just have to explore and then put the right skills, so that itself will get the experience certificate for them.
Absolutely spot on. And I can see the panel being on the side of actually experiential learning. And that brings me to a quick comment to the audience. Here is your last chance. If you have any more audience questions, please put them into the comment section, because my last question to the panel is coming up now. After that, you would have lost the chance. Otherwise, all you can do is to reach out to the panel on LinkedIn with a personalized note. Please do not send blank connection requests. They will just go straight into the bin. Take a little bit of time, tell them who you are, why do you want to connect, and you can dive deeper. So with that, folks, again, a conundrum question. I know the new education policy sort of addresses this a little bit, but traditionally we are a society of becoming doctors, engineers, and the preset sort of roles. So how important are vocational skills changing in the Indian perspectives, and will these skills find any takers in the job market as we move forward? Preeti, I will come to you first, and then it is an open question to the other two as well. Over to you, Preeti. Thank you.
So I think that as we were saying from the beginning, right, the reskilling and upskilling and sharpening yourself, all these play the same thing for all of us, right? So it is very important that we understand what is required, and most importantly within us, right? It's not like, oh, my friend got into a job in AIML, should I get in there? No, what's your skill? What's your strength? Build upon your strength, and look for the opportunities there. Sometimes you need a new tool, learn the new tool. That's buying a new tool that you want to do, and sharpen that tool to proceed further, right? I think be aware about awareness is a critical thing that you need to have. Right? Be aware of yourself and about the ecosystem and the change that is happening. Be open. I can't less stress about how important it is for you, for organization, for people to develop the adaptability.
Okay.
I would like to add here.
Please go ahead. Yep.
So, this is a very interesting question, and I would like to take it forward from what Preeti said, and definitely what she said is bang on correct there, right? What is your calling? A lot of people just don't know what do they want in their life. So it's no a big deal out there. Take few minutes to connect with your own self and say, what do I really want to do? And trust me, what you want to do today would change after 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and you would say, no, this is not what I want to do, and I want to do something else, and then go ahead and start reskilling or upskilling to go in that direction. But no matter what you do, right, do you believe in yourself? Do you believe that, yes, if I'm doing this, I am going to be successful? If you start with that perspective, no matter what course you do and how small it is, let me tell you, certifications, I mean, we have seen so many guys who are not even college graduates and have made to the billionaires list. It is because they had the belief in themselves that they are going to be the change makers. They trusted their instinct. They got connected with the people, and they actually put all their efforts in making that happen. And the evidence and the support and the system, everything started working out for them because they began with that one belief. So start believing in what you are wanting to do, and eventually it is going to land up in the direction where you want to be.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Vijay, are you adding something here?
Yeah, I'll add one more. So basically, just to add what all things Preeti and Rachana told, right? So again, one more example. I have a mentor, a mentee who is actually working on an aerospace. His graduation is on the aerospace side, but he landed up in an IT job. He started working on the IT job. Then he realized like he can do multiple things which connect with his aerospace skills and then add up into the market. So he has designed a drone technology where it can start delivering items. If Amazon can take it or Swiggy can take it and then implement it. So end of the day, when I asked him, how did you think about this new idea or a novel idea, was basically, he replied me telling, my aerospace education was with me, the theory was with me. When I saw the technology of RPA and automation anywhere, I tried to integrate both, and then I was able to deliver this. So that's exactly what we were trying to say. So there will be what is your calling, that will be there. You have to understand that, and then all these skills, all these perspectives and other things can be brought in together, merged together, and come up with a new innovative idea also.
Thank you very much. And time enough for that. I think we will say our byes with a couple of points from each of the panelists, please, in terms of anything what ought to do or not to do in terms of reskilling and upskilling for, say, professionals and also for students. So maybe 1 or 2 points for professionals and 1 or 2 for students from each of you. Who would like to start, please? The floor is open.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I think Preeti, go for it.
No, yeah. Vijay can go.
All
ahead.
right. Okay.
No, Vijay can
go ahead, Vijay. Thank you.
Yeah. So for me, I was talking to a startup guy who was actually working on an industry. When he joined, it was just 24 people. He's an infrastructure guy, but in 4 years' time, they have moved into 1,500, 2,000 employees. So if he really wants to manage the infrastructure from 25 employees to 2,000, he may have to kind of like upskill himself, or at least, kind of reskill himself. So the industry is evolving. The change is happening everywhere. If you are not upskilling yourself, then you can't stick on to this market. That is for sure. So for the professionals, if you are going with the monotonous journey, if you are not translating the organizational goals along with the niche technology which is happening outside, then it is a time to take a pause, realize where you are going, and then get back. For the students, keep learning, try to find out the opportunities which is available, be it in the open source or the hackathon. Be innovative, and then come up, build the expertise much before you apply the job, so that when you reach the interview, the interviewer knows you with your LinkedIn profile, with your expertise, with your projects which you have shown in the industry. So that's my 2 cents, which I would like to close off with this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vijay. Preeti, it's over to you now.
Yeah, I think for me, for both students and professional, there are few qualities that you need to have in yourself. Believe in yourself first thing, and have the confidence that you can do it. Right. Upskilling and reskilling means meeting your future demand, or also about identifying your hidden skills. Both are important for you, right? Identifying your hidden skills and also meeting your future demand. uh, be aware about what is important, and today's world is a lot on how you can build your profile. If you're a blogger, blog, there is various blogging site. If you're a coder, code into open source technologies. Then make sure you keep your LinkedIn profile updated. Connect all these places, your code place and your blog place, into one space, so that anybody who wants to hire you, will be able to see everything there. So opportunities is a lot of it. Don't miss the opportunity, be it a student or professional. uh, don't get comfortable when wherever you are. Always try to be in an uncomfortable position. So make sure you become comfortable with uncomfortable, is what I would say for both.
Beautifully summarized. Thank you so much for that. And Rachana, your parting comments and advice to the professionals and students out there, please. Over to you. Thank you.
Okay, I'm reminded of this quote. I don't remember who said it, but do not die with your music, inside, right? So I would say that no matter what you do, go with your calling. Do not compare yourself with others. And just because, like Preeti said, be aware of what is happening, because unless and until you are aware of what is happening, you really cannot go in that direction. But then always ask yourself, am I happy? Because at the end of the day, you want to be happy doing what you're doing. And the world can go in one direction and you could go in another, and then the world may start following you because you were happy doing the thing that you wanted to do, and you upskilled yourself, you reskilled yourself, and made it happen. For the student community, I would say keep exploring, go out there and do your thing. I think they have great opportunity out there. And um, and 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 never think that you kind of went on a path and then you lost the track, because you may feel that you are on a wrong track at that point in time, but no, it has some learning for you to take it forward. So go ahead and explore and leverage as much as you can.
Thank you so much for those pertinent advice. And that brings us to the close of this evening. But we cannot really go away without a few sort of reminders for the audience. Once again, please do reach out to the panelists with a personalized note on LinkedIn referencing the live today if you want to dive deeper. Community, please watch out for announcements of our physical events coming to a city close to you starting December. Watch out for other live events also happening during the course of the day. It's time to say a big thanks to the audience first and foremost. If you were not here, none of us would be here. So thank you for that, for investing your hour with us this evening rather. Thank you to the panelists for being here today. Thank you to Vivek and Amit for being excellent co-hosts as always. Thank you to Echo Events for streaming this live, to our link management service, Easily Service, and to our digital partners, Reboot Digital. This is me, Preeti Chaudhary, saying adios, amigos, signing off. Until the next time we all meet each other, stay safe, Stay sane, stay indoors. Thank you.